Welcome back, yogis. For this short yin practice, it would be nice if you had a blanket and a bolster, or if you don't have a bolster, you could have a couple of pillows. I thought we could get started just in a comfortable seat today. So sitting cross-legged or on your shins, up on a blanket or a bolster. So as we settle, allowing the eyes to close, or a soft gaze somewhere steady on the floor. So as we transition from whatever we were doing before this, it's nice to just pause, arrive, checking in, asking yourself, how am I feeling today? Physically, emotionally. And in this short time, you may have noticed the thoughts moving from one thing to another, sporadic, chaotic. So see if you could draw a line underneath all of those thoughts. And then just take one thought at a time. One breath at a time. One thought at a time. Knowing that the content of our thoughts are not so important, but it's the ability to hold the contents in our awareness, just observing our habitual thought patterns, so that maybe over time, the more we observe, we could break the shackles of the habitual worrying or dwelling, and we're free to be in this present moment. I'll just take a few more cycles of breath here before we transition into our yin postures. When you feel like you're ready to move, open the eyes, and we'll make our way down onto our bellies. We'll come into Sphinx, bringing the elbows underneath our shoulders. And you are welcome to stay here. You could always reach for your bolster And you could have your bolster rest underneath your chest, or even have the elbows on the bolster. And it's okay if you want to hang out in the shoulders, letting the head hang back or forward. And it's nice to stack the elbows underneath the shoulders so there's very little muscular effort to hold you up. So the humerus bone can take the weight. Relaxing the lower body as we compress the lower spine. Relaxing your eyes and your jaw. For the last minute or so, you're welcome to stay where you are, or you could come into seal, turning the hands out towards the corners of the mat and pressing up. Continuing to relax down into the glutes and legs. Coming into seal moves the compression a little bit further up the spine. Could feel a little bit more of an opening through the abdomen, the front lines of the body. And slowly releasing, moving any props to the side. So you can just come to lay down on the belly, resting the forehead on stacked hands. Being with whatever sensations are coming up in the lower back and lower body. Imagining chi or energy rushing through the joints of the vertebrae that we've just compressed. We'll take our hands to the outsides of our ribs so we can just press up and back. And take a moment or two in a child's pose. And then coming to sit on your shins. We're going to continue to target the spine by coming into melting heart. So you could take your blanket and just place that out on your mat so you have some extra support for your knees. Walking your hands further out. And then just letting the heart melt down towards the mat. Keeping the hips over the knees. Now, if melting heart isn't your jam, maybe it's too much pressure on your knees, maybe no matter where you put your arms, you feel a pinching type of compression feeling in your shoulders, you are welcome to just sink back into a child's pose. We don't spend a lot of time in our yin shapes getting into the upper body. So this is a nice one to get into the arms and shoulders, stimulating the heart and lung meridians. We'll release by letting the hips come back and down into child's pose. And you can have your arms in front of you or behind you, just letting them be very soft wherever they are. Making our way back up. And we'll just move our blanket off to the side. And we're going to set up for half saddle. I am most comfortable in half saddle with a bolster to come down onto. So I'm going to place that right behind me, right near the base of my spine. And we'll take our left ankle, bending the left knee, and just placing the left foot either beside the thigh, or depending on the orientation and proportion of your bones, you might sit right on top of the foot. So this is more of my jam with my body. And then you could take your blanket and put that right underneath the right hip if need be. And you could sit here. This could be enough. This could be your half saddle. You might like to start to lean back if that's okay for your left knee. Again, staying right here. You might even like to bend your right knee and let the knee fall out to the side. And then if that feels okay, you could come down onto your bolster, or maybe you come all the way down onto the floor. We are targeting the left hip flexors and quads. We're also getting another back bend. So when we stimulate the front of the thighs, we're also stimulating the spleen and stomach meridians, the yin and yang meridians that make up the earth element, aid in digestion and getting nutrients to the entire body. And slowly coming up from here, you could, if you're all the way down, you could hoist yourself up on your elbows, pressing onto one hand, and the other. And then leaning over onto the right hip, extending the left leg. Sitting for a few moments just with the legs extended. You could come to lay down again on your back. Wiggling your toes and just rolling the ankles in one direction and the other. And leaning back onto the hands and just letting your knees fall side to side. And we'll set up for half saddle on the other side. I'll take that right ankle in towards the right thumb. And we're going to be very different, but you could also look very different from side to side. So maybe on this side, your heel or foot is on the outside of your thigh. Maybe you're sitting up on your foot. And then setting up any props underneath the left hip. And just working in stages. Notice if you've started to clench your jaw. Relaxing the entire face. Relaxing your neck. For the next few breaths, we'll transition up and out. We'll all just come to lay down on our backs. Take your hands and rest them on your belly. Slow and steady belly breathing. You're more than welcome to just stay here laying down, relishing in the stillness and quiet. Where you can start to bring some movement into the fingers and toes as we wake up the body and prepare to close the practice seated. my dear friends. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey inside. Namaste.